Good day, students. It's another wonderful day here at Wilcox Central High School. It's always great to be a JAG. Today is your recap lesson for today. It is October 26, 2020, and this is dealing with the snippets of videos that you've watched if you were in the live class, or if you're in the recap class, you're getting this video instruction. Basically, for today's instruction, we take a look at 3 videos. They're no longer than 4 minutes, and we identify those Gothic characteristics that are prevalent in each piece of literature and or TV series. The 3 that I chose for today were the first Insidious, The Conjuring 2, and Hereditary, the 2018 version. These particular scenes were handpicked by from previous students of my classes, and they have seemed to love the reactions, the elements that were present within the video. So I definitely want to get into these. So I've already mentioned before that the characteristics of Gothic literature are spread out through each piece of literature depending upon what subgenre they decide to tackle. Now, many of these are dealing with the whole exorcism type or things of that nature, but there are other subgenres that we're going to be looking at tomorrow and a couple days down the road. We're definitely going to cover the majority of them, but I want to pay special tribute to the demon / supernatural / paranormal, because these are where the heaviest concentration of Gothic characteristics are, and you'll see in each of these videos shortly. So, for example, the first one, we want to give homage to Insidious, and this scene is basically taking place like in the first few parts of the movie, and let's go ahead and check it out.
What's happening to Renee is real. I've seen it for myself. I came today because last night I had a dream about this place. I was in this house, but it was late at night. I was afraid. I went into your bedroom, but you were both asleep. I knew I was asleep in the dream, but I could feel that someone was awake in the house. I went into Dalton's room. There was something in there with him. It was standing there in the corner. I asked it, "Who are you?" And it said it was a visitor. I said, "What do you want?" It said Dalton. I can still hear that voice.
What?
It's here!
So as you can tell, that's a whole lot of scary right there. I mean, first you had the creepy, ominous tone that the lady spoke in. Then on top of that, you had like the creepy music playing in the background, leading up to the whole crescendo of, eerie violin and the music, basically with the noises in the background. And as you can tell, this was a dream that she's describing. So the atmosphere of it was dark. That's a dark atmosphere. And in the bedroom, you could see Dalton being asleep, the little boy, and then you can see like the demon standing in the corner. It's a dark specter. It has like little eyes and whatnot. And you saw how it creepily just pointed at him with the little creaking in its system. that's it's a terror, that's suspense, because you never know what's gonna happen next. And then like the faces that the other lady was making, that is also a sign, because she's in suspense, she's in mystery, she's wondering like, oh my god, what's gonna happen. So so basically, the one that's telling the story, she's in huge distress, because she fears that very presence. She even said it. She said, I can still hear the voice today. And so she looks up and hears that creaking, and then red face is back there behind him, just going and so everybody's like tripping, but homeboy, he just sitting there like, what's going on? Like, what? And so the girls are freaking out, because they're like, he's here. And so the little door shaking at the end of that's also indicative of, suspense. What's going to happen next? So if you do want to know what happened next after that scene, watch Insidious, the first movie. So go ahead and check that out. Now, leading up to the next scene that we're going to be looking at, this is from The Conjuring 2. This takes place between America and in London. So the scene that I'm going to show you actually takes place at the Warren household. It doesn't actually take place in London yet, but you get an introduction of a character who has her own movie, also known as The Nun, aka Valak.
Honey? What's wrong?
Mom. Who's that?
Go back.
So you see, Balak plays an interesting role in being able to produce that Gothic atmosphere. So first and foremost, the girl who's also a prescient child, the impressionable child, she's noticing the spirit first. It walks off, and the woman who's more attuned, she's more attuned to the realm because of her awareness. She sees it and decides to tell the girl to stay back. Like, hey, this is too big for you. Let me go after it. Although for the life of me, I don't understand why, we ain't doing that. So that's persona non grata. So she goes in and she's creeping down the hallway. You can tell that the silence is what really gets people. The silence as she was creeping down the hallway, walked into the room, and she noticed that it was definitely odd. She saw the painting, she walked by the painting. But then when she walked up to it and the music started playing, that was a distraction. And just as she was about to try to get out, the shutters went closed, the door started to lock, and the other painting that displayed like a house, it started shaking. And then next thing you know, a shadow comes out of it. That shadow is basically a representation of things that are unknown. And you notice how the music just suddenly stops. It's paying homage to the silence. It's making you wonder what's about to happen next. And so the shadow gets behind the painting of the nun. And the right arm comes out like this, while the left arm comes out like that. It's slowly creeping, and she can't do anything about it because she's stuck in terror. She's wondering like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? And so just as you thought nothing was going to happen, boom, is this coming out of nowhere, like running at you. And she falls back into she falls back into some sort of a spirit world, and she sees a vision of her husband being impaled gruesomely with wood spike. So that is a example of cruelty, the impalement of Ed. But this scene in particular houses a lot of suspense. It houses a lot of fright, terror, all sorts of unexpected things that could go wrong or go left. All right. Now, the final scene. This one I like because it explores the unknown in a way. Like, we don't know the scenario, we don't know how it got there, we just know it was there. And it does that whole disappearing and reappearing masterfully. When I say masterfully. Like, this was the piece de resistance when it comes to appearances and reappearance, and especially the whole shocks and aftershocks. And I have to say, part of this was actually funny too. And you'll know exactly what I mean when you watch the scene. So pay attention to this next clip right here. So you saw it, right? Hilarious, but at the same time very suspenseful, because look at he had so many distractions. First he saw the charred body. I don't know who the charred body belonged to, but you definitely know it was death. That was one of the elements in the characteristics of Gothic literature, death. While he was observing the charred body, there was that little demon just holed up in the top over there. That's suspense. That's reappearance and disappearance. It's also a form of dramatic irony. We know that the demon is hanging on the wall up there, but he didn't. And so when he looks up and to the left, he sees that little mannequin standing up there. Doesn't think anything of it. But that was just a distraction for what was coming out of the corner directly in front of him. And of course, naturally he sees it. It's just like, oh crap, he's gonna run. And I gotta say, he took off pretty quick for a guy that was just like scared crapless out of himself. And so, he's running and running and running. The music kind of just goes crescendoing and out of control. And he gets up to the elevator. He gets up to the attic in time, and he locks himself in the attic. Now, the beating part was a little bit unorthodox. You also notice that the atmosphere was dark. The whole room was dark. But the head beating, I still have yet to understand that. Like, I mean, they're just going in. It was just like, I'm like, that was just crazy. Like, can we see that scene again? Like, I could literally watch that scene all over again and get the same laughter out of it the 100th time as I did the first time. But you also notice that when it stops, the music stops too. And so he's looking around to see what's happening next. But if you want to know what happens next, you got to watch the movie Hereditary. Came out in 2018. So, what have we learned today? There are a lot of elements that create the characteristics of Gothic literature. There are a lot of videos and movies out there that are basically emulating these things, and we want to give credence to those. We want to give homage to those because these are the things that create the frights, that create the scaries, that create the bedtime stories that we tell ourselves and we tell to other people. So, with that being said, this has been another English class. It's been a great one. So those of you that are watching this video, be prepared for tomorrow because we will be covering some more Gothic movies, horror movies, but we're going to be looking into a different genre. We're going to be looking into a couple different genres. So definitely pay attention. This will go up on the materials page, and I need you guys to keep studying because your Unit 2 test is coming soon. I will have a date for you within the week. So be safe, study hard, and relax.